You sign them up, you have a duty to make it work.
A moral or legal obligation, a responsibility. You made the vows.
You made the vows. You signed the paper. There was a priest involved, a pastor. There was witnesses.
Welcome
to the J&O Show.
We talk about
things that we were never told. I'm Jay. And now you know.
Hey.
How y'all doing, y'all? We back. And I saw something, right, on the interim net. And I put it to the side and I started watching it. And it is not what I thought it was going to be. And for that reason, I was like, oh, babe, we got to go and do a reaction to this. And she was like, you know what? We'll do a fresh reaction. So she actually signed herself up for the torture. But I love to know what the heck she gonna think of this, all right?
This should be interesting.
Let's get up in there.
Why do you think they're getting divorced? Do you think divorce is fun?
I think women divorce for no reason all the time.
No.
The reasons they
Can I tell you the reasons? Because I researched it.
You're actually a child. What do you think love is? You're just like romantically going away to Venice like every year, and that's no. A relationship requires a lot of deliberate work. Things like chores are where relationships start to break down, and it'll steamroll into bigger things.
My whole argument is that I think divorce is stupid over chores. I think that's stupid.
When you have a house, there's a lot of chores. There's a lot of shit to do around the house. A lot. And she works all day bringing that paper that stacks. And then she goes home and she still got to do some work. It's gonna take a toll. And she doesn't feel like it's separated at work. Like she doesn't feel like the work is equally separated at home. It's gonna be a burden. It's definitely gonna be a burden. You work all day, you have to go home, then you have to cook. You have to cook. Then you have to clean. Then you have to put the kids to bed. Then you have to do a whole thing. So you're constantly drained. You could do that for a whole last week and then you won't care because, you know, the passion of the couple. But after a couple of weeks, it's really fast for you to be drained. You figure to yourself, why am I drained all the time? Because out of 24 hours, you work 18. It's a place where I'm supposed to rest. I don't feel like I'm rested. I feel like I'm always doing the job. Not only I'm bringing all the money, I'm coming back home and I still gotta work. Yeah, it's gonna be definitely gonna be a problem. And motherfuckers are gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna get me someone that's actually a partner. When you have a Caribbean mom, or that's most mom, I guess, they come back home and one thing they complain, yo, you guys are ungrateful. You never help me. I do everything about. That's what they talk about. If your mama sees you on your couch and you're not doing it, and she cooks, she cleans, and she works, and she brings a bill, you don't bring anything in the house, she's gonna feel like you're not doing anything and you're not bringing anything in the house. That's what she wants. So yeah, I could believe that 100% chores can be like a big ass burden to someone when they come back home and they want to commit divorce. You got that right.
Yeah, I think the only way you could ever think that is if you haven't ever lived with anyone and if you haven't lived with a significant other. That's the only way you could talk like that. Hell, roommates. forget a significant other. Y'all ever live with roommates and one person doesn't do their fucking shit? They don't clean after themselves. They don't pay any of the bills. They don't take any of the trash out. They don't do nothing. They just leave their shit around. No, hold up. It's not even that they don't just do anything. It's that they create more for you to have to do. The motherfucker left his dishes in there, waiting for somebody else to do them.
And then on top of that,
I can respect it if you paid something extra. I can respect it if you do the trash or something. You did nothing and you left me extra labor.
And you pay the same amount. So you have the same amount, but you bring extra labor. It's just like, you did all this shit, and on top of that, you're gonna pee on the fucking. No! Pick up your piss, nigga! Wash your pee! The fuck is this? Then I gotta clean. You expect me to clean this shit too? Yeah, of course you're gonna be pissed off.
Everybody gotta do their part.
When you get older and you manage a household on your own, Pearl, you'll see how fucking annoying it is when you're working and then you come home and everything is fucked up and horrible and nobody's fucking cleaning anything. That is a totally valid reason for divorce, of course.
Bruh.
Shout out to Ab and Preach. I'm gonna just start off by saying that because I love Ab and Preach. I do.
You complete me. I love you.
I'm waiting to see the rest of the video because I'm a little confused because it seemed as though Ab and Preach was co-signing with the statement he just made, which is chores is a reason for you to get a divorce. This is a problem. This is a serious problem because marriage has been so trivialized in our society that you think because you're aggravated and whatever because of chores, that is a reason for you to divorce. Your vows say till death do you part, in sickness and in health. If chores is that big of an issue, come to some kind of compromise. That's not a reason for you to up and leave somebody because of chores. Like, that's asinine. Don't get me wrong. Like, I understand what they're saying. Yes, that could be very frustrating. I get it. Working all day and then you come home and the house is a mess, or, you know, you got to do extra because you got to clean up behind the person. Don't get me wrong. I wholeheartedly agree. That can be a serious problem and cause problems in your relationships. Yep. Absolutely. But that is when you put on your big girl panties or your big boy boxers and you sit down there and you figure it out. Chores is not a reason for you to be like, oh no, I'm divorcing you because I'm tired of cleaning up after you. So hold up. You didn't know that the person was a slob before you got with them?
Yep.
Or you didn't know that this person was lazy or that inconsiderate of you before y'all got married? And if that's the case, then that is where the problem lies. It's because you didn't do your due diligence, have your vetting crew get to understand the person that you were committing yourself to, okay, that you were bonding with, supposed to be for the rest of your life. Like, that's why the Bible was very specific about the reasons why people should get a divorce. Because this bull right here, that is not a good reason for you to get a divorce. I'm sorry. Yes, it will cause issues. Yes, you'll be frustrated. Yes. Guess what? That's life. That is life. Nothing is going to be peaches and cream and rainbows and stars and moons and all. No, that's life. You got to figure out how to work through that thing. I don't know if Destiny is married. I know Preach is
a girlfriend. He got a girlfriend. Abner is single. Preach has a wife.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Preach. I'm confused. Preach. Really?
And you get into this thing with someone else. You have a duty. The other person has a duty. You sign them up. You have a duty to make it work.
A moral or legal obligation, a responsibility. Now, people hear obligation when it comes to things like marriages, and they're like, there should be no obligations in relationships.
You signed the papers for what, boo-boo?
You made the vows.
You made the vows. You signed the paper. There was a priest involved, a pastor. There was witnesses. You got 2 witnesses. You got on both sides. You come on now.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you.
You have the same elements as when you go to court. You got someone that prosecutes. You got witnesses. You got the signed paper, and you got your sentence for life. And then you think there's not gonna be work?
Maybe it's some more in there. So,
that's what I'm saying.
So
like,
maybe
there's more.
Right. So this is what we're gonna do. Me and Onika are gonna go and we're gonna watch the rest of it. I can't put the whole episode on here, or else the video get taken out. But we're gonna go through. We're gonna watch the rest of it, and we'll see how everything is. I also don't know the context before they got to this point.
Yeah.
To know. So we're only going off of this. The context of the episode may have set up certain parameters where we might agree with. But from what we're seeing right now, if you believe that chores are a good reason to get divorced,
don't get married.
Don't get married.
Just stay your ass single.
Stay home. You ain't ready for it. You know, a lot of people be like, oh, what's the point of marriage? Marriage is we don't need it anymore. Marriage is supposed to be a higher level of commitment. That's why there is so many things put in place to make it hard for you to divorce.
Yes.
At one time, men were divorcing women a certain way. They were just like putting them out of there. You know what? Get out of here. She ain't doing what she got to do. Get out of here. And we're leaving them high and dry. That's why they gave all of these incentives for women, and then they tried to help them afterwards because dudes was wilding. It wasn't the first time the dudes was wilding out like that. They was wilding like that all the way back in the Bible times, and that's the reason why they had to back then say the only reason that you can get a divorce is if somebody cheats.
Yeah, infidelity.
Infidelity. Because they was just dropping them left and right and just leaving them hanging. If you haven't gotten to the point where you can't look at the person and say the only reason that we's gonna leave is if one of us cheats, possibly. Because some people can ride through that. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I'm there. No, I don't. But I'm just saying, I don't know. But anyway, somebody cheats. And for me, if there's abuse, biblically, you still not supposed to roll out if there's abuse. Don't mean you got to stay there.
Yeah.
But you can't get a divorce.
Yeah.
Right? So if you haven't gotten to the point where it got to be that serious, y'all ain't gonna get through nothing. I'm telling you, as a person who has been married for 18 years, and I would say the vast majority of the 17 out of 18 was happy years. We had one year that was a little, it was rough. It was rough. But Barack and Michelle, I'm saying, Michelle can go through 10 years. She could do 10 years being pissed off at Barack.
Mm-hmm. And for 10 years, while we're trying to build our careers and, worrying about school and who's doing what and what, I was like, this isn't even. No. And guess what? Marriage isn't 50-50. Yeah. Ever. There are times I'm 70, he's 30. Mm-hmm. There are times he's 60, 40. But guess what? 10 years, we've been married 30.
Wow.
I would take 10 bad years over 30. It's just how you look at it, right? And people give up for the 5 years. I can't take it.
How
it was
do you
bad.
know? What is the, because sometimes
you gotta know your person. Do you like him? I mean, you could be mad at him, but do you still look at him and go, I'm not happy with you, but I respect you. Right. I don't agree with you.
Yes.
But you're still a kind, smart person. Yes. The feelings are gonna change over time, right? Yes. You're not gonna always be, So the minute that goes, people wanna give up on it.
It's true.
But now you're in the work. You're in the work of it, and that's why I wanna talk about the work of it, the work of any relationship.
I can do one.
Because guess what? He wasn't doing his chores.
Bruh. Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't doing his chores.
So I'm just gonna say, I don't know the full context. Maybe the guy ain't working. I don't know what they talking about. But what I will say is, if you haven't gotten to the point where you can respect and like them enough to be able to stick through these types of things, like she said, you didn't do your vetting, you messed that whole joint up.
Yes.
Or you just fickle as hell and you should have never gotten married. There's people like you that's killing this, making this divorce rate look crazy. Bruh. Because it is another level of commitment. That's what it's supposed to be. But it's been so trivialized in this Western society that everybody think that it's just another level. Like, it's like, well, it's really like being engaged 2.0. You live with each other. But we live with each other without even being engaged nowadays. Bruh. So it doesn't matter. We got everything backwards. And then we're wondering why the things are backfiring on us. Because we're doing everything out of order. And you could be mad about it all you want to, but we taking a big old L. And the stuff our parents was telling us was right. We thought we knew better. We didn't, and we screwing it up.
Yep, that part.
That's what happened.
But we're going to go on camera.
We're going to go off camera. Look at the rest of this, and we're going to see what it do.
I'm hoping that...
Maybe they bring it back. They bring it back.
I'm hoping.
Because Abba and Preach, they usually
real level-headed.
Yeah, but this Chores thing...
by this.
I
don't know. Let's see.
I don't know what the hell this is.
12 seconds later.
Chores to break up a home,
Pearl,
a family.
have you lived in a filthy home before?
We ain't get but 30 seconds in.
They really arguing about this bullshit. I can't believe. All right, do we have to put up the stats about fatherless homes?
The U.S. has the highest rate of children living in a single-parent household of any nation in the world. About 80% of single-parent homes are led by single mothers. The United States stands over 3 times the world average of 7% of children raised by one parent. China's at 3, India's at 4, the world's at 7. We're at 23% in America. 90% of all homeless and runaway children, 63% of teen suicides, 85% of children and teens with behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. Fatherlessness likewise has a direct link to teen pregnancy and sexual activity. Roughly 70% of teenage pregnancies come from women raised in a fatherless home. Fatherless kids are 20 times more likely to be incarcerated and 11 times more likely to exhibit violent behavior than children from two-parent household. If a man and a wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same chances as children raised by just their father.
You still live in a fatherless home, even if the dad is active in the child's life and he sees them on the weekends. It's still a fatherless home.
I'm here to pick up my son. Hey, son. I'll be back next week to pick him up again.
All of these stats we have that show us that taking the dads out of the home destroys our children. And we like, well, he wasn't doing his chores. Bruh. Meanwhile, your kid can't have a decent relationship. They might be in jail. They might be out here prostituting. They're probably your OnlyFans model. Probably in the industry. All of those people come from these situations, these fatherless homes, because fathers bring discipline. Fathers bring structure. You know what that means? Making people follow the rules, helping them to understand the importance of following the rules and being reliable. That's what dads bring. And we wonder why we got all of these fickle people out here doing all of these crazy things. Ain't no dads in the home. And we think that that's okay. He wasn't doing his chores. Don't get married. Don't have no kids. Until you can grow up and be an adult, please leave this marriage thing alone, because it's not for you.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to get mad because, you know, sometimes y'all be saying some dumb
Pearl, the only one over here making sense.
We'll be back, y'all, because this was some bull.
20 minutes later.
All right, y'all, we back. Yeah. I was hoping that they was going to say something that made me feel differently.
But I will say, like I said before, don't get me wrong. I wholeheartedly agree with both Destiny and Aaron Preach when they saying like somebody not pulling their weight in the relationship can wear you down.
100%.
To the point where you just like, you know what? Like it steamrolls into bigger issues.
Yes.
If left unchecked,
Yes.
because the little things they keep on like if you pick at a scab, it never heals, basically. So same thing. So I'm with them with that. I wholeheartedly agree, 100%. The problem that I have is that when you say that is a good enough reason for you to leave, for you to divorce someone, I feel as though society has made marriage to be such this trivial thing. Destiny said he doesn't even feel like you're in a relationship unless you moved in and you live with somebody. I don't agree with that. So yeah, I feel like when Pearl was saying like, you know, you're just basically gonna divorce over chores, and they're trying to trivialize what she's saying because they're like, oh, she's not saying anything. She was saying something. She's saying like, okay, like you have a family, like you have kids in the picture. You getting a divorce over chores is big enough of a reason for you to break up a family. Because once you bring kids into the picture, you're on a whole nother level. Okay, there are enough statistics out there that shows the effects of a broken home or single parent home on children. These children grow up into being adults, and then they go off and they're having relationships and they pass on this damage. There sometimes is irreparable damage that is done when you break apart a family unit. I said it before and I'm gonna say it again. Everybody may not believe in the Bible. That's cool. Listen,
she always sicking Jesus on people.
Listen.
Go ahead.
A lot of the reasons why we in these situations is because we not following the good book. I'm just saying it has if you believe it or not, fine, but you cannot deny that there's a lot of wisdom in that book. And oftentimes the instructions for life that's in there, if you follow them, you tend to be better off. When you go the opposite is when you have a whole slew of problems. The Bible talks about one man supposed to be with one woman. Basically, you're not supposed to be out there sleeping with a whole bunch of people. You're only supposed to be with one person. That would cut down on a lot of the issues that we have in today's society if we did that. Yeah, that might sound like Stone Age or girl, sis, what you talking about? Like, what you talking about? Everybody, we just want to have fun, YOLO. You do that, but then you have all these issues. We have different shows that make marriage, like one of the ones that we actually watch, Married at First Sight. I like the show, but the fact that they are bringing people together and then they have a decision day, I'm like, why do you have a decision day? You've already committed. You made the strongest commitment that you can make to another human being by bringing them together in marriage. Or at least it's supposed to be. But then you put this clause in there like there's a decision day where you can opt out because you didn't get along with this person. They also said relationships take work, which is absolutely true. It takes a lot of work, including chores. One of the ladies said, can we stop saying, oh, just pick better? No, we can't stop saying that because that's a huge part of it. Unfortunately, we are picking people based off of wants and not needs. We don't have a good balance of that. And that's why we run into these issues. If we take our time with getting to know a person before we jump into bed with them, because regardless of whether or not you want to believe it, there is a bond that is created between two people when they sleep together. I mean, it goes both ways for men and women, but I feel like for women, it's deeper for us when we do that because we literally have someone coming inside of us.
Pause.
Okay, well,
just go ahead.
Y'all know what I mean.
I paused it for you. Keep going. Keep going.
There's a bond that happens between you and your husband or whoever it is that you're with if you're sleeping with them. So when you break that bond, there is a lot of
emotional damage
that you have to deal with. There was another point that I was going to make, but I forgot what it was. as far as the whole picking better people part, if you took your time to get to know the person before you slept with them, there are certain things that you may have been able to figure out before you decided to commit to them in that level. Like, you would be able to see if this person actually cares about you and your well-being. Like, are they considerate? Do they consider your feelings? And yes, I do understand that people could get comfortable, because that's one of the things that I think Abba mentioned in there, is that, you know, people get comfortable. You be in a relationship for a long time, you get comfortable. Facts. Yeah. That is very true. But that is when you have to do the work. Hey, maybe you need to dose the person with a reality check. Maybe not necessarily get a divorce. Be like, oh, okay, that's how it's going to be. Maybe deuces, I'm going to go over here. You stay over here by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Until you figure it out or get it together. There are different things that you can try to do to try to make things work, you know. And we said it earlier in the video, and we did a video before with Michelle Obama. Like, talk about the ultimate. You know what I mean? Right. Like, they went through a period of 10 years. 10 years, G. 10 years, not 10 days, 10 years. Okay? Where she was not feeling Barack.
Because he wasn't doing his chores.
Because he wasn't doing he was not doing his part. She was like, yo, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to basically be taking care of Sasha and Malia by myself while you golfing and you doing this, that, and the third. Like, hey, I'm a lawyer too. Hey, I got you your job. You know what I'm saying? Like, life is not easy. Okay, but when we talk about marriage, you can't just decide to throw in the towel because a person is not doing their chores. They're not doing their part. You guys have to sit down and come together and figure out a way to be able to make it work. Yes, better choices. Yes, we need to make better choices, because this would help to alleviate a lot of that. And that's what I was going to say too. People don't like hearing, oh, make better choices, because you don't want to be held accountable. And that's another issue that we have in our society. And that goes both ways, men and women. But speaking to their point in the video, you don't want to be held accountable. Nobody wants to sit there and be like, yeah, I messed up. I was wrong. But guess what? When you're an adult, you got to take ownership. Like, your life is a direct reflection of the choices that you made. Period. We may not grow up in the best of home situations and stuff like that, but once you get to a certain age, especially in this day and age, it's way too much access to information out there. Like, you can no longer blame your family's past for the issues that you have. Yes, they're still there and they're still very real, but you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work to do better. You saw the way you grew up. You saw the way your family grew up. You know you don't want that for your life. What are you doing about it to make it better? So yes, make better choices. Period. I'm sorry. I had to get that off my chest.
Okay. It was a good chunk of the video left, so she had a lot built up. Yes. I will say, the one problem that I had is that they was making a false equivalent.
What's that?
The false equivalent that they were making is that they kept on comparing marriage to roommates.
Yeah.
Dating.
It's not the same.
Fiance. Shacking up.
Ain't none of it the same.
Working. Business partnerships. Marriage is none of those.
Although some believe it's a business.
Some people, I mean, yes, it has aspects of many of those relationships. It does. It has aspects of many of those relationships, but it ain't none of them. If you haven't gotten to the point where you understand that marriage is completely different from all of these other relationships in terms of importance, especially when you have kids in there, please stay single.
Yes.
This ain't for you.
Nope.
Because you don't have the mindset to make it anyway.
Exactly.
Because when things get hard and they get hard for too long, you're done. Because Michelle Obama was like a lot of y'all, she would have divorced Barack. Probably in the middle of his presidency.
Bruh.
If Michelle Obama thought like y'all, they would be done.
Yep.
And one thing that really drives me crazy is nobody wants to listen to people who are doing it, who are in it. Nobody wants to listen to people who've been doing it for years. And when they tell you, yo, things is gonna get crazy, make sure you do the work to get the right person. That is very important. That is even more important than you just saying to a person, hey, you should help them with chores. You should help them with this. You should be considerate. Yes, they all should, but character matters.
Yes.
You have to pick somebody with a certain amount of character. This is not a woman thing. Men and women, you are responsible for your choice. If you screw it up as an adult, you gotta eat that. A lot of people use divorce as an easy out. They use divorce as an easy out because things that you picked wrong and you don't want to deal with the consequences of your choice anymore. Character matters. If you make a vow and a promise to me, does it mean anything? Are the marriage vows actual vows, or are they just something pretty we say? What do they mean?
You sign them up, you have a duty to make it work.
A moral or legal obligation, a responsibility. You made the vows.
You made the vows. You signed the paper. There was a priest involved, a pastor. There was witnesses. Come on now.
Nothing apparently. if you ain't doing chores.
I'm sorry. I know a lot of people, y'all be going through hell with these people. Things have been happening in your relationship and it's just horrible. And that's why we're talking about marriage right now. We're not talking about relationships. We're not talking about fiancés. We're not talking about partnerships. We're not talking about businesses. We're not talking about none of that. We're talking about marriage. Yeah. It is a very different thing. And the reason that a lot of people are having issues with it is because they always took it for granted. And now it's biting you in the ass. Yep. You will never get the full benefit of marriage until you give it the full weight. And if you don't ever want to give it the full weight, you will never know what it's like to really be married, to really have that type of partnership. And man, you know what? Everybody's not meant to, because a lot of us just ain't built for it.
Yeah, that part.
You might just not be built to be married. And that's cool. Now, to be honest, that's okay. Like, everybody doesn't have to be married. Everybody doesn't have to have a family. And I think that's another thing that a lot of people are putting out there, especially guys towards women. Yeah, if you don't have a family, then you ain't gonna be. Everybody ain't meant for it. Everybody just ain't good for it. Because some people just don't have it in them to do the work. And I would rather you stay single than to go and break up a family. There are certain things that are important enough for you to do that. There are. But it's a very small list, and we want to put everything on that list. And I'm sorry, I'm with Pearl. Chores ain't a big enough reason. Why? You should have never gotten to the place with the person that you're with that they don't care enough about your feelings to help you.
That part.
That part, that part, that part, that part.
You should have never even got with them. Yes, what went wrong with your choosing process? Because there will always be douchebags out here, and there will always be good people out here. Your job is to find somebody that is not a douchebag. Yes. That is your job, man or woman. Yep. So yes, it's always going to be on you, because there's nothing you can do to eliminate the douchebags from the earth. You will never be able to do it.
They're here to stay.
So as an adult, you have to find the one that is not a douchebag. Especially in your specific relationship, there has to be a caring about the other person enough to be considerate. Y'all don't have to listen. Y'all don't got to listen to us. Y'all really don't. I mean, we only got 18 years of a happy marriage. How many of y'all can say that y'all know people that have done that? I know people that have been together for 30, 40 years. And I hear a lot of, I should have never stayed with you. That's not how I feel about my wife. An actual good marriage where we are considerate of each other and we actually put in effort. We're trying to give you the keys, but you don't got to listen. You can go listen to a whole bunch of unmarried people about how it works. Yep. Some of them don't want to be married, and some of them would never do good in a marriage. Do you? You choose which one makes sense to you. That's on you. Peace.
Deuces.